Hi lovelies, and welcome to this week's live. So today I'm talking all about the causes and treatments of premenstrual anger. So this is all of your irritability, mood swings, rage, and just general angriness that can feel unexplainable, a bit irrational, and a little bit scary to our loved ones. So I'm just going to be talking you through what causes this, give you some little quick fixes for in the moment, and also talk about some long-term ways to make this anger not come up so strongly. So first of all, progesterone in the second half of our cycle tends to increase and then drop back down. And what progesterone does is it's basically the hormone that prepares us for pregnancy, just in case we got pregnant, whether we are or not. So it slows you down, chills you out, slows down your metabolism, and makes you want to eat loads and loads of food just in case you've got another mouth to feed. So the problem with this is that if we then don't eat lots of food, we experience that hangriness a lot more than we would at any other time in our cycle. So if you don't know what hangry means, it's like that hungry anger. So yeah, that's one of the things. If we're not eating regularly enough, and this might mean stepping it up a lot more than you do at other phases in your cycle. And the other thing that progesterone does is it kind of makes us want to stay in and relax and look after ourselves. Again, just in case we're pregnant, we don't want to be going out into the big scary world where there's possible dangers, and we really want to be nurturing ourselves and focusing on building a baby. So what that means is that, I don't know if you get really sensitive skin, or loud noises are really annoying, or bright lights are really annoying in this phase of your cycle. Drop it in the comments if you experience any of those things. It's quite interesting to hear what other people experience. So all of those things, those really intense overwhelming of the senses, can make us feel really irritated, even being around lots of people, because biologically we're trying to kind of protect the potential baby. So I hope that kind of makes sense. But then what happens is, just before our period breaks, about 2 to 3 days before, progesterone completely drops off if you're not pregnant. So does estrogen, and so does testosterone. So you've not really got any like chill out progesterone going on. You've not got any testosterone, which is kind of your high energy hormone. And you've not got any estrogen, which makes you feel all like loved up and rose tinted glasses. Everything's great. I love everyone. So all of that diminishes to quite a large extent. And you're kind of left with this base level raw emotion that comes up. So if you've been suppressing a lot of anger during the rest of your cycle, or even throughout your whole life, it can come up really strongly at this phase. And you might think that's annoying, but I really like to highlight this as a real blessing, actually, because it's a monthly opportunity to really draw up any anger that you've been suppressing, which in the long run might cause illness in the body through inflammation, and deal with it, bring it to the surface, process it, let it out, and let something go that subtly may have been holding you back without even realizing. So that's kind of your causes, mostly speaking. So some quick fixes in the moment that you can do, which I really love, is eating regularly, as I mentioned. So I'm talking like every 2 hours, have a snack, have something. But make sure that what you're eating is really nourishing. So if every 2 hours you're having sugar or alcohol or carbs, that's just going to increase the hangriness even more, because it's going to mess with your insulin resistance. So you're much better off having something that's really dense in protein, like nuts are obviously a really great thing to snack on. Things that are high in healthy fats like avocado, coconut oil. Again, you've got that in your nuts as well, because these proteins or fats are going to help us feel fuller for longer and not mess so much with our blood glucose levels and our insulin resistance, which all kind of makes us feel a little bit crazy sometimes. So that's a really big thing on the diet front. And there's some other things that you can do. So getting away from things that are stimulating your senses. And most of the time, this means spending time alone. So if you're privileged enough to not be around a really busy family, I know it's not possible for everyone, but even just taking 10 minutes to have a breather to yourself, preferably a whole day if possible, but we've all just got to meet ourselves where we're at. And just make sure that that's a really nourishing day. Get off social media, that's far too stimulating. Don't watch TV. A book is kind of okay, but if you want to go hardcore, then you want to be like meditating, yoga nidra, yogic sleep, all these kind of things that just really take us inside. And the kind of double benefit of that is that you then get to see where this potential anger might be coming from and process it. So yeah, and the last, two more things actually. So these are like if you're feeling really enraged and you just need like a quick calm down. So I would show you my whole shaking practice, but I think my microphone will fall off if I try and do that right now. So the essentially what you do is you just start shaking your body. So it's usually good to start kind of shaking your hands a little bit. Start with your shoulders, your head going round, and then your hips go down to your legs. Shake one leg out, shake the other one out. And I'm doing it quite subtly right now to keep the mic in place, but you can literally go completely crazy with this. I'd say 10 minutes is pretty hardcore. You can do it literally just a quick 1 minute shake and it will help, but depending how angry you are will change how long you want to go with this for. So that's a really important, it's a tantric practice, but it's found in cultures all over the world throughout history. Feels really wacky. You probably don't want anyone watching you the first few times, but you will become more comfortable with it. And the other thing that you can do, this is an exercise I actually learned recently, which is quite hilarious, and it's kind of hard not to laugh while you're doing it, but I guess that kind of helps as well, is to just speak absolute gibberish in an angry tone. And the reason this works is because you're not focusing so much on the thoughts that are making you angry by speaking actual words that you understand in your language, but instead you're just kind of letting out that rage through your voice, which comes quite deep from within. So I'll give an example. So you're basically just like essentially. So give that one a go, see how you feel about it. Again, I know it's a bit silly, but sometimes we've got to just try something to help. So these are some quick fixes that might work. And now I'm going to move on to some of those more long-term preventative measures that are going to stop this anger coming up so much. So first of all is channeling your anger during the rest of your cycle. So noticing when things tick you off a little bit and trying to deal with it in the moment so that it doesn't all just build up until that last couple of days before you come on your period. So that might be doing some of the exercises I've just talked about there during the quick fixes. It might also be channeling your anger into a cause you really care about. So, you know, women have a lot to be angry about, especially when it comes to our menstruality, our experience of the menstrual cycles. There's so much shame around periods. There's also, you know, sexual trauma and living in a patriarchal society. So there's all of these things, but there's also like everything else that's wrong with the world. So joining a cause that you really care about and channeling your anger into that can be really great. Another thing is journaling. So as you're going through, when you notice these things coming up throughout your cycle that make you feel angry, is writing about it, especially in the premenstrual phase. It's really great to write things down because sometimes it's really nice to bring this anger to the surface and to let it out on paper, but it's not necessarily your best time for communicating that anger. So it can be helpful to write it down and then come back to it maybe during your period or when you come off your period, if you've got something you'd like to communicate to a loved one that does actually need to change and that you're quite angry about. So yeah, just being tactful about when you bring things up, and you're actually much more likely to get a positive response if you come at it from your kind of inner spring energy than the inner autumn energy. So just thinking about that. And then in the long term as well, just decreasing sugar, carbs, alcohol, dairy, which lactose is a sugar. So decreasing all of these sugars out of your diet. And that's just going to really help any kind of erratic mood changes and insulin resistance that, as we spoke about earlier, kind of causes the hangriness to come about. So that's just a few highlights of what we might do to help with anger, and I've got lots more up my sleeve, but I don't want to bore you with too many concepts. So have a go at some of those and let me know in the comments if you've got any more advice or tips. If you've got anything that you're angry about that you'd like to share, just try and keep it political, or not political really, if possible, and keep it more focused on what we're talking about in the group and things like menstruality, which it basically just means the lived experience of women's menstrual cycles. So I think that's about it from me for today. Again, let me know if you've got any questions, reach out if you'd like some support, and yeah, let other women know about these tactics, because we get a bit of a bad rap sometimes for being like crazy during or before our period, and it's not something that we have to accept. There's a little bit of anger that comes up, which is nice, but it's not something that we're sort of cursed with. So yeah, spread the word, spread the good word. And next week I'll be talking about anxiety and how that shows up actually in different phases of the menstrual cycle in different ways. And again, we'll be doing the causes, quick fixes, and treatments long term for that. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments. Sending you all my love and good luck dealing with the anger. Bye for now.